Hello, everybody. Trust you are all doing well. So you are welcome to another master class tonight. And I want you to give me a thumbs up. Let me know you are here. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up, everybody. Yeah, you can drop your favorite emoji also. Okay, all right. I see you all. I see you all. So you're welcome to this night's meeting. And then I promise you that you are going to have a very interesting ride with us at Analytics tonight. So what am I, before I begin what I am here for, I just want to ask, where are you joining us from? You can quickly drop your location in the chat. Let me see those of us that are following. Just drop your location in the chat. Drop your location. Let me hear from you. Let's interact. You can drop your location. Okay, my name is Daniel, and I'm from Nigeria. I live in Rinikevi, the northern part of Nigeria. So how about you? Let me meet you. Let me meet you in the comment section. I've not gotten any response. Okay, Cynthia from Canada, you're welcome. Okay, Priscilla from the UK. Wow, Linda from Belgium. All right, awesome, awesome. Yes, I know we have more people on the call tonight. We have more people on the call. Yes, only 3 persons have responded so far. Okay, all right. Without wasting much of our time, we this night, how many of us are also joining us for the first time? We want to just know, are you joining us for the first time? If you are joining us for the first time, just type one. And if you are joining us more than one time, you can just drop your favorite emoji in the chat box here. If you are joining us for the first time, this is your first time in any of our master classes, you can just drop your favorite emoji here. If you are doing for the first time, you can drop a one. And for subs, if you are doing more than one, just give your emoji, give your favorite emoji on the call. Okay, Prince is doing it for the first time. Billions, okay, all right. Idris, iPhone, okay, awesome, awesome. Good to know that you are welcome here. Adebowale, okay, Billions, all right. So you are welcome, whether you are joining us multiple times or this is your very first time. So you see, for the fact that some people are joining us for more than once shows that there is actually a lot of value to unpack in this meeting. And so before I proceed, I just want to quickly make an announcement. And what's the announcement? So there's Ubonk here on the call, and Ubonk is going to be dropping a link here. He's going to be dropping a link. And please kindly fill the link so that you can get access to the materials or resources that was used during the course of this meeting. So if you don't fill the link, there's no way we can give you can get access to the resources being used. So please, let's do well to fill the attendance as we can keep putting up the form. Let's do well to fill the form. And if you have any questions as we go along, you can also ask the questions and we will answer you as we go. So without wasting much of our time, what are we actually here for? What are we here for tonight? Now, the first thing we are here for tonight is we want to see how we can convert raw images into usable data as a data analyst. Converting raw images into usable data as a big data analyst. And what does this all mean? First, so we are looking at the tools. On the screen here, you have the tools we are going to be using tonight. I'm going to be using my Jupyter Notebook. I'm going to use my Python. I'm going to use Streamlit. I'm going to use TensorFlow. So those are the tools I'm going to use to build what I want to do. And you see something, what we are building tonight is something very interesting and very practical. So now, in this, the first, we are starting from converting raw data, raw image into usable data. And then we'll look at several other parts as we go along. So about Analytics, Analytics is a leading tech firm that specializes in providing training in technology and comprehensive data consulting services. And for those of us that were on the call earlier on, we hear testimonials from different students. We have several experiences. We have several programs that we offer, and then many people get enrolled. We lead them through so many other things that we're going to be talking about tonight. And then so we are committed to making technology more accessible. And part of the things we are offering to achieve that is that we are offering what we call premium services. And then we have a team of instructors from different backgrounds. So with me here, I'm not going to be alone tonight. So tonight I have Prince, who has a lot of experience as in data analytics and business intelligence. He has experience helping different organizations. He has mentored and helped more than 500 people to transition into tech and even land their first job, even without a prior tech background. And then he has experience in innovation and growth catalyst, business development manager, and the rest that you can see here. And so myself here is Daniel. I'm currently a senior data science associate at 10 Analytics. I have over half a decade of experience in both engineering and IT space. So I come from a background where I met both engineering and then IT together. And I have expertise in several tools, Python, SQL, Excel, Power BI, name it. And with also experience in different fields, agriculture, religious field, finance, manufacturing, academic. In all of these things, I've actually found a way to apply technology. I found a way to apply data science, data analysis in this field that I've listed here. And one of the things I love to do that I love to share my knowledge. I love to share what I know. And that's one of the things I'm going to be doing tonight. I'm going to be sharing a knowledge for you to see how you can pick a data, just any data, and then see what we can do with a data, just a data. And this data we are talking about in particular is just images. Take an image and let's see what we can do with it as a big data analysis. So now the first thing is that we want to look at crop disease detection system. Crop disease detection system. Now, what is it in this crop disease detection system that is so important? What is it that we want to look at in this particular system that we just talked about? Now, if you look at this, in modern agriculture, there is a major problem. And the problem is that people don't detect early and accurately if there is a problem with the crops. And so this, because of this, there is a problem with yield. And what we want to do is that we want to help farmers who are struggling with timely and correct identification of disease because they don't have so much knowledge, they don't have so much expertise, and all of that. So what we want to do tonight is that we want to build an AI-powered crop disease detection system. So that means our AI has one job to do. And what is the job of our AI? It will help us to detect diseases on the crop. And these diseases and this detection, we use computer vision, it will use deep learning to analyze your images, then classify them high accuracy. And then you can later on either deploy this model on, you can deploy this model whether on your mobile phone, whether with a drone technology, whatsoever thing that you can use to develop it. And so this can help farmers on the farm to look at their crops and then determine what's actually going on with that crop. And so with that, it reduces manual labor. So even if I'm looking at the crop and I'm not really sure what's actually going on with the crop, then I can actually take my code and then I'll take this program, I'll take it and then insert it, take it to my farm, snap the pictures, or if I choose to use a live feed, use the live feed, and then the live feed is going to tell the farmer this is what is going on. And with what is going on, the farmer knows what to do from there. All right. So what are the tools we are going to use tonight? I've listed them earlier. We are going to be using Python basically. Then I have my Jupyter Notebook, I have my Streamlit, and then I have my TensorFlow. So drop your favorite emoji in the comment section if you are ready to go. Drop your favorite emoji. Let me see how many of us are ready to go tonight as I walk you through how we solve this problem. Okay, all right, billions. Yes, yes, yes. I need more hands. I need more interaction. Let's interact. Let's interact. Yes, if you are good to go, just give me your favorite emoji. I need one more before we proceed. Okay, Pamela. All right, all right, all right. So since I've gotten enough response, let's proceed. Let's go to where the action is. Now, don't forget, keep your eye on the topic, which is that we are converting raw images to usable data using as a big data analyst. Now, as a big data analyst, you are working with data. Now, when we talk about big data, we start with big data has to deal with volumes. A big data analyst is dealing with large chunks of data. They are dealing with not just a single data, they are dealing with large chunks of data. They are dealing with data that can skyrocket to gigabytes in minutes. It can skyrocket to, you can have thousands or hundreds of thousands of data being generated. But then the process that we apply to those big data start from small chunks. So if I can handle small chunks, I can handle the same process for larger chunks. So that's what I want to show you tonight. We'll start from the small and then we make it large. So let's go and see what to do. So I'm going to be sharing my screen now. I'm going to go to the lab. Let's see. Let's do a practical. I'm not here for talks tonight. I want to show you what really works. All right. So here is my. Okay. Now, if you can see my screen, just give me a thumbs up here. You can just give me a thumbs up. If you can see my screen already. Okay, all right. So now looking at what I have on my screen here, you notice that all I have here is an empty data set. Now, it is an empty folder. Now, within this empty folder, let's look at what the data looks like. So the data, if I open it, you see that I'm just seeing numbers here. These numbers don't make any sense. But let's look at what they are in actual sense. Let's look at what they are. These are images. This is a crop. Now let's look at another one. This is another crop. If you know what this crop is, I want to test your knowledge of these things. If you know what this crop is, tell me in the chat box. Let me know. Tell me, what do you think this crop is? What crop do you think is this? If you know it, let me hear from you. Just drop the name. If you think you know what this crop is, just drop the name. Drop the name. Okay, it looks like scent leaf or something. Okay. What else? What does it look? What is it actually? All right. Another guess. Another guess. Okay. All right. So now one of the things this Ugu leaf. Okay. All right. Well, it's not a scent leaf either. It's not scent leaf, neither it is Ugu leaf. This is actually an apple. This is from an apple tree. This is actually from an apple tree. This is a leaf from an apple. So now this what we want to do, why I'm showing you this data is I want to show you what we can actually do with this data. I want to show you how we can transform this data from here, and then the computer will be able to recognize what this leaf is, and it's able to understand whether what how to handle when it sees this type of leaf, how can it handle it in the future when we see something like this. So now, first and foremost, if you look at what I did here, I have several crops here by the name 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which I'm going to be explaining what the names are. So first, to make the computer understand what is going on, the first thing I did was that I arranged my data somewhere. I arranged all my data sets, I arranged them somewhere. So after arranging all my data sets somewhere, the next thing I now did was I now gave each data a name. So that's why you see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, those 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is just an identifier. It's just an identifier for the computer to recognize that this zero is standing for this one is standing for this one, then for the different things that those items are standing for in our, what those items are standing for in our data sets. So now that we have sorted our data in this format, where we have sorted our data to determine what is zero, what is one, what is this, and what is that. The next thing we need to actually do is that we need to now tell our program how to actually identify what we have here. How to identify what we have here. What is zero? What does zero mean? What does one mean? All of these things are what we want to tell the computer how to identify. But before we tell the computer how to identify them, this is the next thing we need to do. We need to now create what we call, we need to create a notebook, a Jupyter notebook. So you can see when I was talking about the tools we are using, Jupyter. So this is where it comes in, the Jupyter notebook. So I click on new here, and then I click on Python 3 for my end, and then it automatically creates a notebook for me. Now, the first thing I want to do with the notebook that it has created for me is that I want to change the name of the notebook. I want to change it from, it's telling me that the notebook is untitled, so I'll change the name to be something that is more reflective of what I want to do. So the name I would want to use is plant classifier. Plant classifier. So that's the name I'm going to be using. So the next step I'm going to do after after doing this plant classifier of a thing is that I'm going to import the libraries that I'll be using. So what are the libraries that I am going to be using in this particular demo? Like I said earlier on, I've mentioned some of them already. And part of the things I mentioned is we are going to be using TensorFlow. I'm going to use my TensorFlow. So let's bring in TensorFlow, and then I'm going to bring the several other things that we are going to be using for this work. All right, so let's start with importing our TensorFlow. So import TensorFlow as here. Then I'm also going to import other things like Keras. Under TensorFlow, I'm going to import Keras. So import TensorFlow dot Keras. Now, from this TensorFlow dot Keras that I'm importing, I need to import two things, which is the layers and the model that I'm going to be using. So let me change this to from import TensorFlow, import layers, comma, models. So with this now, I'm telling the computer that give me my layers and give me the models also. Now, I need to import other things. I need to process the images. I need to load the image and I need to process them. So TensorFlow Keras also has what we need for this. So I'm going to say from TensorFlow dot Keras dot processing dot processing dot image import. I'm going to import load image, and then I'm going to convert the image to array. Now, when we get to that point, I'm going to explain to you what is actually happening with these two things that I've just brought in. So now, the next thing I want to do is I want to also bring in some other helper libraries. I may not use all of them, but I'm going to bring them in. So let's say helper libraries. So import pandas as PD. Now import matplotlib dot py plots, matplots dot py plots as PLT. Then I'm also going to import my NumPy, import NumPy. And then I'm going to also import several other things like the OS, import OS. This OS, I'm going to use it to read the file in. So now, dot model selection. I'm going to import my string test splits. Now, after doing that, the next thing I want to do is that I want to import my so I want to import my metrics. These metrics that I want to import, I'm going to be using the metrics to actually determine if my model is training well or not, if I'm getting what I want or not. Okay, so what's the function of OS? OS means operating system. So this operating system that I want, it gives me opportunity to, if I want to control something at the operating system level, it gives me those functions. For example, if I want to know the parts I'm currently working on, the OS will help me with that. If I want to know several other things within the system, the OS will help me with that. So that's the function of the OS. All right, so now let's import the other things that we need also here. So I'm going to be importing my metrics, like I said, from sklearn dot metrics import classification reports confusion matrix. Let's leave it at these two first. Then I'm also going to import C2. And then many of you will be asking me that why so much things? Why am I bringing so much things into this space? Now, I'm bringing so much things because of the nature of what we want to carry out. We want to work with images, and because we want to work with images, okay, pre-processing rather, pre-processing. Okay, array. All right, so now I've been able to successfully load all my data correctly. So now all of these things are going to be used for our work. We are going to use them one after the other. So let's start. Now for me, by rule, as a rule of thumb, the one thing I love to do is that I love to keep my things organized. And one of the way I love to keep them organized is by the use of what I call functions, Python functions. How many of us have heard of Python functions before? Now, Python functions are like containers. Python functions are like containers that are used to keep things. So I can always use the containers anytime I want. So that's why I love to use them to organize my things. When I'm working on them, I'll use those containers to organize my code. So when I'm through with a particular code, I can now run it anywhere. So even if I make changes, I don't need to, every single place I use it, I don't need to go and make changes there. I love to organize my things. So let's see how I use that. Now, the first thing you want to do now that I've done all of this is that you want the computer to have access to your images. So let's read the images. Now, don't forget. So I'm going to create a function, and the function of, or the purpose of this function is that the function is going to help us to read in our data. It's going to read in our data. So I'm going to call the function name read data. So read data. So read data. That's the name of the function. Now, How do we read the data? The data is in a directory on our system already, and we don't really know how to get there. But there are certain provisions that are made for us to help us get where our work is. And this is what I am going to use now. And that is the OS you saw me put the other time. Now let's use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write my root directory. My root directory is this. So in this my root directory, I'm going to use OS, the OS you saw me do. I'll now say os.path.join. Now this os.path.join means that I want to join two parts together. I want to join part A plus part B. So now what is my part A? My part A is my current working directory. So I'm simply telling the OS that, see, whatever directory I am right now, whatever directory I am right now, help me to get it, irrespective of the name. And you know why this is very interesting? Is because if I copy this code and come to run it on your laptop, it's going to, once the image is, once you copy this and put to your own laptop, even from my laptop, and you copy it directly, it's going to run correctly. Why is it going to run correctly? Because I said get current working directory. So if system changes hand, it is going to work still. All right. So that's why I'm using get current working directory. So within the current working directory, I have a folder called I have a folder called I have a folder called data. As you can see here, I have my data folder. So I'm going to tell them that, look, my file is within that data folder. So I'm going to put it there. Now that I've done this, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to do what we call the class name. Now, what am I doing class name? This class name is to tell us that what is the um what is the this image, what category of plant do they belong to? Are they the healthy plant? And if it's the healthy plant, what crop is this image representing? What crop is it representing? That is what I mean by the class name. And then the next thing I want is the part of the image. So that means as I'm going through each image, I'm also telling you that give me the class name. And that's why you see that I have them as zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can see here, this is class 0, this is class 1, class 2, down to 5. So now I'm going to write the code to run through everything. So for each image has a part. So now let's go through it one after the other. So I'll now say for each folder, I'm going to run through the folder, then still my OS. I'll now ask the OS to, in this my data, list all the directory you are seeing there. That's why I have this list there. So within my roots directory. Now, once you list all the folder, it's going to give you the output of this particular place is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because there are 6 folders there. So now it will now take each folder one after the other and then give us and help us to collect all the images in each of the folder. So now how do we do that? Now I'm going to tell it that, okay, I'll do another join. So I'll say there's something I call it subdirectory. Now, in this subdirectory, I'll tell you that take our base directory dot join, take our base directory, which is our root there, and then join it with what? Join it with our folder. Join it with our folder. So now I'm going to do something like this. Folder. So why I'm doing something like this is because I want the folder to be dynamic, number one. Then number two, I also want it such that the folder is seeing it as a folder because I'm telling it to join two parts. So if I just write the name folder itself is not a part, but when I put this within it, when I put this double slash here, you can also use the forward slash, but I'm using a double backward slash. So it means the same thing. I'm going to get the same result. So now that I've gotten the subdirectory, now for each file in this subdirectory, I'm going to take it up. So I'll now say that for each file in os.list directory of my subdirectory. So you can see that what I'm doing here basically is that I'm telling the system that, look, check my file, read everything that is there. Then when you read everything that is there, give me one of each of them, put them in an organized manner. So let's complete this. Let's see what we are going to get at the end of the day. So let me add each one. So the class name dot append. So the name of the class will now be this. The next thing I want to do is that I want to get the path for each image. So that means the name of the class is the folder it is found. That folder is used for representing the whole class. So now I'm going to, all we are trying to do now, all I've been doing so far is just to read the data. I've not even started processing the data. I've not even started to train the data and to use it. But don't worry, I got you covered. You are going to see magic, real magic right now. So now I have my folder. The next thing I want to do is my path. I want to get the path for each image. So let's see the path for each image. So I'm going to do something similar to what I did here. So path.append. So I'll open my directory. I'll open my bracket rather. So I'm going to do os.path.join. Then the next thing I'm going to do is, what am I joining? I'm joining my subdirectory. I'm joining it with my file. I'm joining with each file. Now, the reason I'm using a for loop is that the for loop will help me to iterate over each of the data points. So that means instead of me doing it for each one, this thing I've done, this code I've done here, will help me to repeat it for all the files. So if I add more data to what I have here, I don't need to change my code at all. This code will work if I add more data to it. That's the interesting thing. So now, when I'm done with everything, I'm going to tell you that, okay, so when you are done with everything, give us back two things. You are going to give us back our parts. You are going to give us the parts, and then you are going to give us the class name. Those are the two things you are going to give us. So let me run this. Let's see if this works. So I'm going to have two files here. I'll have parts, and then I'll have class name. And then I'll come here and I'll say read data. So when I'm done running this, no error, right? So I'm going to read my class name. Let's look at our class name and see what we have there. So are you seeing it now? Our class name is done, 000. So it tells us that there are 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it tells us that there are 5 images in class 0. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 images here. Then there are 1 to 3 images here. There is 1, 2, 3 images here too. 1, 2, 3 images here, then 4 images here. So this tells us that it has successfully read our data. If you are not so sure, you can go and verify. So you can say, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It says there are 5 images here. Let's check if it's actually true. So let me use this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there are 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's giving me 5. It's giving me 5 folders. So let me check. I'm doing them. So it's saying 22. So I'm wondering where the extra data is coming from. So, okay, so it's telling me that there are 22 parts items here. So I'm going to investigate that as we go on, and then we'll fish out what's wrong there. So with this now, the next thing we are going to do, let's check the parts. Yes, let's check the parts and let's see what's actually happening in the parts. So I've gotten my parts. Let's run our part and see. So we can see now. Oh, now I see why I'm having the extra. So within this file, there's something here called checkpoint, which should not be there ideally. So I'll need to go and remove this particular checkpoint from here, or else it's going to cause our program to maybe crash as we go on. Because by the time I'm trying to process this folder is not an image. So because it's not an image, it's going to cause an error. So let me quickly deal with that. It should not be here at all. So let me deal with that from the back. I'm looking at it from here. It's not showing up here. So I'll go to my folder and then delete it from there. So let me quickly go to my folder. Okay, so I've deleted it from there. Let me rerun this. Let me rerun this. And then I get 21 here. So you can see that it has disappeared, and then my file is all okay. So if you notice what is all here, I have my parts here, I have my 21 file. So both of them, let me check their lengths, and then yeah, both they should both be 21. So let me check their length, 21, 21. Please give me a thumbs up if you are still following me to this point. Give me a thumbs up if you are still following me. Yes, give me a thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. I also know those who are still following me and sure that I've not left you behind at this point. Okay, all right. Good to know that I still have a lot of people following me here. All right, so now let's proceed with the next thing I want to do. Now that I have read the data, it means that my computer has access to the data. So now that it has access to the data, let's tell the computer to process the data for us. Now, let's tell the computer to process the data. To tell the computer to process the data, I'm going to use another Python function, and the name of this Python function this time around is I'm going to use process data. I'm going to tell it process my data. That's the name of the Python function I'm going to use right now. Process data. So let's do process image. Def process img. Now, what are the processes that I want to carry out with this? Now, one of the processes that I want to carry out this is that I want to convert, I want to first load the image and then process the image. And so how do we do that? Load image, process the image. Now, two things. First thing we are going to do is this data that I did here, I'm going to now reuse it. This read data that I'm putting here, I'm going to reuse it. So I'm going to do something like, so I'm going to do path, and then I'm going to get the paths, and then I'm going to get the tags, the paths and the tags from my read data. So you see that I've validated that my read data is working. It's able to sufficiently read, it's able to sufficiently read my data from, it's able to read my data from my computer, read data. Okay, let me be mindful of spelling error. Python is very sensitive to that. So now I'm going to create a folder for images, empty images. Now these images, what are we going to do with them? I'm going to go through each of the images, and then I'll go through each of the images, and then I'm going to read the images. When I'm done reading the images, I'm going to convert them, which you are going to see here. So two things I want to do, read the images. So that means for the image, for each image in the range of my parts. Now, basically, I'm just telling the computer that, see, however long, how many images you have. So even if I decide to go and add more images to this data, it's this place, I'm not going to change anything. So I'm making it very dynamic that it should tell me the number of images it has. So that same number of images is going to apply this processing to them. Now, if you remember, I imported CV2. So the image now, first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to read my image. So I'm going to do cv2.im read. That is, I'm reading my image, and then I'm going to read the first image here. That's what I mean here. read the first image. So as it continues running, it reads the second image, reads the third image until it's done reading all the images. So I have 21 images here that it's going to read for me. Now, the next thing it's going to do is that I'm going to now tell it that, you see this image that we are having here, I want you to resize it for me. So cv2.resize the image. So I'm going to resize that image that it just finished reading. So I'm going to tell you that I want the images to be 100 by 100. Now, why I'm doing this is because I want it to be consistent. So when you are preparing your data, there must be what we call consistency. Your data must be consistently formatted, or else in case there is one data that is not the same size, so choose your size and then use it in this data. Now that we've chosen our size, the next thing we want to do after choosing the size is that I want to now put it somewhere. I want to append it to my images here. So I'll say images dot append. So images dot append. Append what? Append image. So for each run that we have, it will take each image, it will read it in, it will resize the image, and then it will add it to our list of images. Now, the next thing we are going to do is that we are going to now process the image again. Now, this image has now become what we call an array. And so, because it's an array, I'm going to now format the array, and I'm going to show you the final outcome. When I show you the final outcome, I'll explain what I have done so far. So all I need to do is that I'll now take this in my images. I'll take this in my images. I'll turn them to an array because initially it was a list. So, but I am not working with a list fully. So I need to tell you that I want to work with images. I want to convert it to an array, and then I want to convert the type because I'm actually working with an image. So we need int 8. So I'm trying to reduce the size so that I'll not have something too bulky to work on. So 2.55. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to bring my tags again also, and then I'll also turn them to an array. So mp.array of tags. So now that I've processed my data, very simple data processing. And with just this simple data processing, let's see what we can do with this data processing. So I'll return my data, and then I'll return my tags. So I've processed the images. I've converted them from those images you are seeing. I've converted them from those images, and I've successfully converted them into numbers. So let's run this. The way we run this again, let's rerun process image. So I'm going to do x comma y this time around, x comma y. And what's my x comma y like? I'm going to have something like path, process image rather, process image, open and close, and then run this thing. Okay, size. Okay, let me check that again. So let me run this. Inside and okay, let me pick this a picture here. Okay, just a moment. Okay, all right. So MP is not defined. All right. So okay, numpy as MP. So run this quickly, and then I'm done with this. So let me remove this part from here. Let me remove this part from here, and then I'll run this, and then I'll run this. Okay, so this works. And then when I run this one, this also works. So now let's look at the image. So basically, what I've done for you tonight is I've shown you a very simple way to process your data. So you've seen a very simple way to process your data. And now for us to, now that we have processed the data, we can actually do anything we want with the data. I can, if I'm okay with what I have here, it's fine. I can go about and run it. I'm okay with this. And if I am not, I can just, however I choose to use the data is, is my own business. So, but for tonight, I want us to use the data to build a very simple model. I want us to use it to build a simple model. And what is this model that I want us to use it to build? Now, if you look at it, this is the language that the computer actually understands, which is numbers. And we've been able to take those images and we've been able to convert them to numbers. So you won't believe that represents each of these images represents an actual number. And each of these numbers rather represent an actual image. So this computer can do a whole lot with this image. And that's why we want to use that whole lot that the computer can do with the image. We want to take it and then want to use it to actually build a model, a very, very simple model. And I want us to build this model in the next 10 minutes. So I'm going to be talking about them right now. So I'm going to walk you through how to use these numbers and convert them to a model. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create what we call the training images. I'm going to um, get the train images, then I'll get the test images also. Then how to get the training label, and then how to get the labels, test labels. And then the next thing I want to do is how to use my train test splits to actually split my data. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to split my X and my Y, and I can decide to tell it which ratio I want to use. So for me, I want to use 30%. So 70% for training, 30% for testing the data. So when I run this, it's splitting my data for me already. Mhm. Okay, test size. Test size. Okay, so now it has picked my data for me. So I have a training image, I have a testing image, I have the one for labels, I have the one for both testing and training. So it has picked my data for me. Now let's use this split data. Let's use it to build a very simple model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this model called I'm going to build a CNN model. How many of you have heard of CNN? If you have heard of CNN, just drop it in the comment. Drop the full meaning of CNN. If you have heard of it, just drop the full meaning. Not the CNN we know, like the news network, CNN in programming, in Python. Just drop the full meaning. Let me see how many of us had experience before. And you can also make an attempt also. I would love any attempt from us. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build what we call a sequential model. So models equals to model dot sequential. So sequential model sequential. So now after I've built my sequential model, then I'm going to put, so I'm going to put my first set of layers. So which is, I'm going to put a convolution layer. So layers dot conv 2D. So layers dot convolution 2D convolution layer. And then I'm going to specify the parameters for this convolution layer. So 32. I'm going to do 3 by 3. These are the kernels. And then I'm going to add my activation layer, activation, and I'm going to tell it it's a rectified linear unit. That's what I want to use here. And then I'll include the input shape. As you can see, remember the other time when we were building the model, I resized it to 100 by 100. Then 100 by 100 by 3 is just simply telling the computer that, look, the image is the width and the height, they are both 100. Then 3 channels means that the image I'm putting in here is actually a colored image. If I'm using a gray image, the channel will be 1. So it would have been 100 by 100 by 1. So if you're working on your data, you have to add this information to your channel. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to add another layer called the max pooling layer. I'm adding max pooling layer 2D. So the max pooling layer is using a 2 by 2 filter. I'm using a 2 by 2 filter on this. So now the next thing I want to do is that I have layers dots, and I'm adding another convolution 2D layer, conv 2D. And this comes to the, I'm adding more hidden layers here. So 3 by 3. Then the next thing I want to do is add my activation layer. So you see that for every convolutional layer that I add, I'm adding an activation function. Now, somebody might be asking me, why don't I have input shape here? I don't have input shape here because this input shape now will be taken to the layer, this max pooling. Then this max pooling will supply the input to this layer. So that's why I don't have input shape again. Now, after this, I'm going to add another max pooling layer. So maximum pooling. Now, maximum pooling is like a reduction system, a filtering system. So now, after I've added my max pooling, let me add another convolution layer like the previous one. Add several convolution layers. Yes. Now, after adding my convolution layer, now you can guess what's next. So if you guess max pooling next, you are wrong. So this time around, because I'm done, I've built all my layers already. So the next thing I want to do, there is a layer we call flattened layer. So that flattening layer is what is going to help us to create what we call a fully connected network. So we have our flattening layer. So I'm going to flatten my data. So layers.flatten, layers.flatten, flatten. So now the next thing, it should be that down, layers of flatten. So the next thing I'm going to now add what we call a dense layer, a dense layer. So 64. Then on my dense layer, I'm going to add my activation function. And then finally, I'm going to add another dense layer, which is what this dense layer is one that is going to tell us the number of outputs that we have here or that we are going to get here. So with this now, I've been able to build a simple model based on this data that I have just processed. So now let me run this model and let's see. Okay, input shape equal to, yeah. Okay, so now that we've gotten our first layer running fine, the next thing we need to do is to now compile our model, run the model, and then we are good to go. So model.compile. In the next few minutes, we'll be done, and I'll show you how this thing works. Model.compile to optimizer equal to data. So there's an optimizer called data. Then there's what we call loss function. And this loss function, I'm going to define cf dot keras, keras, yeah, keras dot losses dot sparse categorical entropy. Then well, then how do I want to measure performance? I want to measure performance accuracy. I'm sure many of you will be wondering by now that what am I trying to get at? So metrics equal to accuracy. So how to measure performance by accuracy. Accuracy. So that's my model compile. Then the next thing I want to also do is next thing I want to do is to fix my model. So model dot then open my brackets and then I'll tell you that use your train images, then use your train labels, and then use your epochs to 10. That's how many times, and then we can validate validation speeds. This is not compulsory, it's optional, and then it's this. So with this now, I'm practically done. It's my model. Okay, so name error, model is not fine. Okay, yeah. So I have models here. So I have models here. Whatever you can see. So remember the number of epochs I defined previously. I defined 10 epochs, and so those epochs are running currently. So it's going to run this in 10 times. After running it 10 times, our model is ready. So now that our model is ready, now let's look at what's happening. Let's go through it. You see that the first time it ran it, it gave us 0.18 accuracy. As we continue running it, we are getting 0.27. And you can see as we continue, it's increasing. We get to 0.63, get to 0.72, get to 0.63 again, 81, we get 8.1, we get 7.2. We even got finally 1.0 in our data. So now, basically, what I've done here is that I've converted the image, I've converted it into a model. And so what can I do with this model? Looking at the accuracy, for me now, for an image with 72% accuracy, do you think that's a good model? If that's a good model, give me a thumbs up. If you think that's a good model, 70, 80% accuracy, do you think that's a good model? Do we think that's a good model with that level of accuracy? Okay, so now, if our model is this accurate, then we can get more. Now, you know the interesting thing about everything I've done so far is that if I add more images, I don't need to change anything on my code. Now, one of the reasons why we are having high accuracy is because the number of data we are using is very, very small. So because the data is very, very small, it tends to learn pretty quickly. But because of the time we have at hand, where it will not allow us to add more data because the more data we add, the longer it takes us to run them. And that's why we are not adding more data. So what we are going to do, what I'm going to show you right now is the end result of everything that I've done. Now, I've already previewed this model. I've made a model out of it. And then I use what we call Streamlit app. Now, that Streamlit app is part of the tools we use in analytics to teach our students how to, when they are done with their machine learning model, how they use it to present. Now, I'm going to show you what the end product look like. Now, I've trained this model. Everything I did is here. Like I'm not adding anything to my code. The same code I used to achieve the result I want to show you. It's the same code we are seeing here. The only difference is that I added more images. That's all. I added more images and I'm having all of these results. We run this, it will take more time to rerun, but you are going to get the same results with me. Now, walk with me. Let's see what we have. Now, from that image that you were seeing the other time, let's see what we are able to make out of it. So I'm going to share you another part of my screen that shows us how we were able to utilize this screen, how we're able to utilize everything that we have done here. So with this level of accuracy, can you see my screen? Okay, so now after we are done, we've been able to create something on, we've been able to create something on, okay, I, okay, I closed something here. Um, so I'm moving my model again. I have to quickly restart the model. Just a moment so that I can restart the script. Okay. Okay, so yes, I'm sharing the screen again. Just a moment. Okay, so let me share. So I have it running again. So it's loading, it's loading. Just in a moment, we'll have it up.
So, Daniel, I want to believe that the further images that you added to it, that is why it's taking time to load. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. The further images I added to it is why it's taking time to load. But once it's done loading, you can pick it up from here and I'm going to call you up so that we can look at it together once it's done loading from my end.
Okay. All right. So I think this is what we're going to do. So while I walk them through how, what are the things they need to learn to be able to do something that you just did, while I do that, so once the image has load at your own backend, just let me know. So I'll just be able to let you speak, share that part, because I believe even myself, I want to see that part of the screen where everything we're working on is now actually in actualization. We've actually been able to achieve this particular thing that we've been not working on for the past is about 1 hour, 15 minutes right now. Okay. So once that is loaded, just indicate, let me know so that I can definitely reach out and you can just share that path with everybody. Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Yes,
Okay,
sure, yes,
I
sure.
think, oh, okay, fantastic. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share how we've been able to learn, what are the things you'll be able to learn to see us being able to do exactly all the things that Daniel has done and even much more because this that he just did is only one bit, a very small chunk of what you get to learn when it comes to cybersecurity, when it comes to data science. Okay. So what I'm going to be showing you is exactly what are the things you need to learn, what are the technical skills you need to pick up, what are the career path, what are the things you will learn on the program that will afford you the ability to do everything that Daniel has worked on, right? So when it comes to you getting into data science, despite the fact that a big number of us already understand how important our critical data scientists can be, before we even arrive at this, like you already know, we went ahead to look at the companies that organizations are really looking to hire for. We're able to identify that data science is one of them, brought them to you. And when it comes to you learning with analytics, any of the program you're looking to get into, we have 10 of them. Data science being one of them. We have 10 different programs that are able to get into. Or when it comes to the program itself, whatever you're looking to learn with analytics, there's something we call ease of learning, ease of transitioning, and a high rewarding salary, meaning whatever data science as a program that you're looking to get to learn, you're going to be able to easily learn it not even considering that you've been away from classroom kind of setup a long time ago, people like that or people in this same category are still able to easily learn it. When it comes to also ease of transition, meaning you don't need to have worked as a data scientist or you must have done anything technical before you are able to transitioning into this role, and definitely something that is going to be highly rewarding when it comes to the salary. This will validate the opportunity for you to get into data science. I don't know why cybersecurity just keep coming into my mouth. I don't know why. Then what we also did was to seek external validation, more like security. Okay, you've been able to transition now. What is that job security that after some years you don't see yourself out of job? What are the things that you need to do to secure your spot in that space? And what we did was actually went out to look at the World Economic Forum. They have a particular analysis that they do every 2 years. That particular analysis is called the Future of Job Report. Now, this Future of Job Report, the one they released earlier this year, covers for 2025 till 2030, right? And between now and 2030, the Future of Job Report from the World Economic Forum is telling us that between this duration, a total of 170 million jobs will be created. These are jobs that are not currently existing right now. 170 million will be created. And right now, 92 million of the current jobs that are existing currently, they will disappear. First time I saw this, I was in shock. And the shock was like, where am I? Am I in the 92 million or will I be in the 170 million? That's the big question I asked myself. And this particular report also went ahead to even show you the career path that are gradually declining in demand, meaning between now and 2030, a lot of organizations are not really looking or that they're not really keen to hiring professionals in this space. That is this career path that you can see on the right side of my screen. And what you do want to do, if you're looking at transitioning, definitely you want to find yourself switching or becoming one or picking up a skill in the left side of my screen, because these are the career paths, according to the World Economic Forum, that will increase in demand. And the number one on this particular list of a career path that will really, really increase in demand is big data specialist. Exactly what Daniel just showed you. These are part of the things you get to do as a big data specialist. Then, like I said, this is just a bit of things you get to learn. There's also AI machine learning. You get to learn that. Then there are also some other things you get to learn as a data scientist that will afford you the opportunity to lean into this career path that is growing in demand. And what are the career roles? What are the jobs that you can get into as a data scientist? Now, one thing you need to understand is, as a data scientist, everything you will learn within your training will afford you the skill to be able to work in any role a data analyst can work in. So in a real life scenario, let's say in a particular job board, they have 500 jobs for data analysts, and they have 300 jobs specifically looking for data scientists. As a data scientist, you have access to be able to apply to those 500 jobs that are going for data analysts, merge with your own 300 jobs, meaning you have opportunity to apply to 800 jobs. All the jobs a data analyst can apply to, you as a data scientist, you have the opportunity to also apply to these jobs. It's not vice versa. Only one way, which is the data science way. A data analyst cannot apply to the jobs that a data scientist can do, because what Daniel just did, that is big data. A data analyst can't do that, right? Now, these are some of the roles that you also see yourself being able to get into, like machine learning engineer. That is, you heard when Daniel was talking about training a particular model to be able to predict something. That is something that you can full-time focus on, get a job in, and help organizations use their data, use their information to be able to predict scenarios. This is something you can do 100% as a data scientist. Then you have forecasting analyst, demand planning analyst, big data specialist, quantitative analyst, and so many more. So these will afford you the opportunity to get into data science and being able to land yourself in different career paths. So it's not just I went through the data science and I can apply to any job that says data science. No, it doesn't really work that way. And
All right,
how do you
Prince.
really know, right? Daniel, you're ready?
Yes, yes, I'm
Okay,
ready.
so I think let me just stop sharing before I walk them through things they need to learn.
Okay. All right. So sorry for the reach the other time. So give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen already. So you can see what we use using Python. Part of the tools we use for Python. This is Trimlit. This is hosted on my laptop. Now, you don't need sophisticated website. You don't need sophisticated HTML, CSS knowledge to actually build something like this. Just a simple Python. This is a Python code that is giving me this, that is looking like a website here, which is what we call our string bits. So now let's test our model. Let's see how it works. So I'm going to go through my data set. Now, like this, in this case, I have an expanded data set. So I'm going to just use one of the images and let's see what it tells us. So it tells us, look at this image, and then it runs through this image and it tells us that, okay, looking at this image, this is an apple leaf, and then this is a healthy apple leaf. Now, if you look at the leaf, does it look healthy? Does it really look healthy? Yes, it is. So that means if it's telling us it's looking healthy, then that means it's able to accurately um, identify this. Let's try some other crops. Let's try some other crops. Just one or two. I just want to use it to demonstrate. Based on all the things we've done, you can see this one is not healthy. Now let's see what it does. Does it detect it for us? Does it tell us the health status? You can see it tells us that this crop we are seeing here is not healthy, and it further tells us what the disease is, and then tells us this. Now imagine I now add an AI, maybe I add an AI agent to this prevention. Now, as it's detecting it, is sending to the AI agent, and then it's sending us free diagnosis. So this tells us a whole lot of things we can actually do. So now I can take this model to an apple farm. There are several crops that I actually trained this model on, and that was why it was taking time to load previously. There are several crops I trained this model on, and then you can see that the result is actually astonishing. All of this in Python, every single one of them, from those numbers we were seeing there down to what we have here. So please, over to you.
Thank you so much, Daniel. So for me, probably maybe because I'm already in this space, you are looking at crops, but me, I am looking at different things. I'm looking at somebody that is a med lab scientist. They have different types of tests that they've done over the years. Such information, they load it into the database, and by scanning, by running any sort of test, they are able to predict exactly what is wrong with this person by just the machine being able to identify some elements in the sample, in the blood sample, in the blood test. These are the things. So it's not just limited to, oh, so it is crop or it is in farming, then this is what we do. No, as a data scientist, you cut across every sector of the economy. Wherever that you find yourself, the technical skills you have the ability 100% to be able to get into these spots and do something, right? Now, back to my conversation or about our discussion on what are now the skills you need to be able to transition or get into um, data science. What are the technical skills you need? What are the technical things you need to learn? Now, the first thing you'll be learning is definitely statistics, right? So once you're done learning statistics, because of the implementation of how you'll be able to use it as a data science, you will need to learn statistics. Then the next thing you want to learn is forecasting and predictive analytics using Microsoft Excel. You will learn this. Then after that, you get to learn Tableau for data analysis. Then you also learn structured query language, you learn SQL. Then you start to learn how to use your Python programming language for your exploratory data analysis, for your machine learning, something that Daniel just did, for your computer vision. So what he's just doing is still pictures. That is what we just did. Now, another a very good example of computer vision is this particular camera that is looking at me. Now, this camera can see only me. Nobody can tell if I'm in the office, if I'm in a bar, if I'm somewhere else on the island, if I'm on the beach. Nobody can tell because I have a background. And this particular computer vision or the data scientist working with Zoom has equipped the camera with what we call computer vision, meaning immediately any user activates a background, ignore every other thing you can see and focus on only the human-like figure. As I am right now, if somebody should just come beside me, the camera will pick that person because that person is also a human being. I don't know if we've seen this. I think it's like a skit on social media whereby somebody will be videoing themselves, then something like a box will appear in the background and you'll be detailing the expression like angry face, the age is 566 years old, things like that. It is comical, but it's actually there's an existence there because that is what we call computer vision, equipping the camera with a eye to see a specific thing, right? You also get to learn how to do this within your data science program. Then you learn GitHub version control, you learn GitHub Copilot for coding. Then you also learn Microsoft Fabric for analytics. Microsoft Fabric is a tool, is an environment that has been newly introduced by Microsoft. I think that was about October last year into the tech space. A lot of organizations have not really adopted Microsoft Fabric. So you are learning it, meaning if your organization you're looking to work with, they're looking to adopt it or they already have it, you already have the experience and you can leverage on it to even give a better opportunity and a higher level of upper hand against every other applicant in that particular job they're looking to get into. So you get to learn everything that I've talked about. Now you see the duration of your training. The duration of your training is actually 8 months. Or you'll be in class learning, working on different projects, just like one of them, which is what Daniel just did. You get to do this for 6 months, working on different projects, building your technical skills. You do this for 6 months, and you have 2 months internship. Internship is where we get to now you get to work with a consulting firm that we partner with. You get to work as a data scientist under the umbrella. And what you get to do in this space is you get to solve real world problems as a data scientist, right? And the value you'll be getting from this sport is the tech space is pretty heavy on your technical know-how. So all your technical skills you've learned or you've built on in 6 months, you now furthermore intensify on it and have results driven during your internship. And what this will give to you is ability. All these projects you must have worked on in your internship, the things you've solved for companies, you will now have the ability to add them to your portfolio to showcase to anybody looking to hire you what exactly you've been able to do as a data scientist. And this internship that you get to do, you have the opportunity to do with a company registered in UK or also a company registered in Canada, right? So this gives you either UK experience or Canadian experience if you're looking to build in this direction, right? Then also, when it comes to your learning, a big number of people taking the program, they are adults. And adults, definitely, we have responsibilities, we have work. Some of us are studying, some of us are working and studying at the same time. So your training, Analytics actually incorporated this into or consider this in when we are setting the time for your live classes. So your live classes, your live instructor-led classes will always be on Saturdays. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. UK time, Nigerian time, West African time, European time. That is one. Then the other option is the 6 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. UK time, Nigerian time, and that will automatically be morning class for those in North America, that's in US and in Canada. So for those in US and Canada, that will be about 10 a.m. MST, that's Mountain Standard Time, for those in that time zone. So if you're in UK, so if you're in Canada, if you're in US, not to worry. The timing for your classes has you covered. So you don't have to join the early mornings because 11 a.m. West African time, if you're in MST, that is going to be around 5 a.m. MST. Not many people have the capacity to wake up and start to learn something during this time. So your timing are totally covered. All right. Now, you see everything you get to learn under the data science program. All these are just 50% of what we tend to offer you, just half of what we tend to offer you. The other half is what we call the employability. And what does employability means? So now you have the same level of skill as Daniel. Everything he did with Python, you have a bit, you know how to do it 100%. Awesome. Now, how does this convert to getting you a job? You have a fantastic technical skills, you worked on projects, you have things to showcase. How does all these things you've done, how does it convert to getting you a job? That is where the employability comes into play. And when we're talking about employability, we're talking about you learning how to revamp your CV, because what we have in that CV revamp and CV review is we have in-house professional that will take your CV, revamp it for you, and at the same time, teach you how to tailor your CV to whatever job you're looking to apply to. So if you are looking to apply to 10 jobs in a day, you are taking that master CV and tailoring it to 10 different jobs, meaning you apply with 10 different CVs to these jobs you're looking to apply to. Then you also have your LinkedIn optimized because when it comes to job application, there's a limit to jobs you can apply to sending out your CV. So you have your LinkedIn optimized to have you or to afford you the opportunity of you getting a job or getting called for an interview for a job you don't even know that is existing. And how will that happen? Because your LinkedIn has been optimized to be and see and speak as a data scientist. Then you also learn how to navigate the job market. There are jobs everywhere. I just showed you some of the job titles you can apply to as a data science. What about the ones that don't even cover those job titles? What about the ones that have different title entirely? How do you know what type of job you can apply to? This is where you get to learn how to apply to jobs by looking at the job description. You will learn how to do all those things. And also under you navigating the job market, we have some job boards that we partner with, whereby the partnership is premium. We pay for the services. And on their job board, we have access to premium jobs that you will not find on your traditional job boards like Indeed, Glassdoor. You will never find them there. So what we did was we have access to these jobs, and we scrape them, and we bring them to your classrooms, whereby you have access to these premium jobs directly from your classroom, and you can apply to them 100% without paying anybody anything because we already paid for the services. Then when you apply to these jobs, optimize your LinkedIn, the least we expect is to get called for an interview. Now, before you step into any interview, you have opportunity to get into a one-on-one session with a professional that will look at your CV, will look at the job description of the job you're looking to interview for, look at the company that you're looking to get interview for, then prepare you for that role that you're about to be interviewed for. This will furthermore shape you, put you in a position whereby you know exactly how to scale and to answer questions and how to actually get the job, right? This is the service that you get access to immediately you join analytics. Even after your training with analytics, you still get access to all your interview preparations. And when you get the job, you have ability to get reference letter from Analytics 100%. Then there's also something we call on-the-job support. As it says, you're on the job. There's some things that you don't really know how to figure out. You have 100% access to reach out to us and have a professional solve these problems or guide you how to solve these problems 100%. Then we also have what we call a weekly mentorship session. This is something that happens every Thursday. We have one coming up tomorrow, whereby we bring industry experts into your classes and they give you the lowdown, the information that you almost never be able to get anywhere. They will guide you on how best to make use of this information and literally placing you above anybody looking to transition, because now you have the technical skills and you now have the knowledge that helps you to get into whatever you're doing. There's a lot of people that deal with imposter syndrome. You don't know what you know. You're not certain if you can do it. They will show you people that have been in your position before and now where they are, to furthermore give you the inspiration to get everything you're looking to get. So these are the things you get value from. Then the last one, so I don't skip that, is what we call the Upwork optimization. Upwork is a freelance platform, right? So you also learn how to set up your profile in Upwork to open you or to give you the opportunity to offer your services to both individuals and organization at the same time. And by the time you're done with your training, you have the ability to have analytics and Amdari, where you get to partner the internship, where you get to do your internship. You have opportunities to add both of them to your CV. All right. Now, you see everything I've talked about. We have lots of participants that have been able to go through this training and they've been able to land a job 100%. And one of them, which out of so many, is this particular lady here. Her name is Ene Ojaide. She went through the data science program. She is currently in UK. She went through the data science program and she was able to land a job as a data scientist with a company in Germany. She's working fully remote from UK, right? Then also definitely we have people across the globe. This particular gentleman over here, his name is Abdul Rashid. Abdul Rashid actually went through the data science program while he was in Nigeria, got a job working for Chow 420 in US, fully remote, and still currently Abdul Rashid still resides in Nigeria. He's actually based in Abuja, right? Working fully remote for a company in US. Then definitely Olubukola here. She went through the data science program. She is in Poland. She went through the data science program and was able to land a job as a people data scientist for a company in Poland. Right. So we have lots of people that have been able to go through the training and they've been able to land a job. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you complete the form. So you see this particular slide, we have lots of a lot of testimonials on this particular slide that I'm using. So once you complete the form that my colleagues that have been dropping in the chat box ever since, this particular slide will be shared with you alongside the video. This particular session is recorded. So you'll be able to watch everything Daniel did and also have opportunity to go through the slide. All these testimonials, you get access to them 100%. Okay, we'll have lots of them, whereby you're able to click on these spots and be able to hear what they have to say. Now, for the training, back to the training, the next cohort that we have coming up, the next class is starting by 8th of November. So if you're looking to learn, if you're looking to transition, if everything Daniel did is super interesting to you, looking to build your skill in this sport, the next class we have is starting by 8th of November. And to be part of this particular class starting, the current price of the program is 1,000 US dollars. For that particular price, is currently being discounted, the early bird discount, for the first 20 people to register, and that will have you pay 750 US dollars. Now, this 750 US dollars, you have furthermore opportunity to pay in installments, meaning you don't have to pay everything all at once. You have ability to break it down and pay bit by bit. And pay bit by bit. You can pay one time, two times, three times, four times, or even five times. If you're paying five times, all you have to pay to start with the class starting by 8th of November is pay your first installment and you get everything you need to be able to join the class starting by 8th of November. And as you learn, you get to pay every month for 5 months. Remember, the duration of your training is 6 months. So by the time you're paying your last 150, at that time, you're a fantastic professional already. Just a little bit of rounding up left, and you're good to go. So that makes it super easy for you to be able to learn, get value, and as you're getting value, you're also paying back, right? So if you click on the link that my colleague shared or they've shared in the chat box, it should take you to the website. So what I will do is I will walk you through how to make your payment. I'll show you how to be able to make your payment so that I will guide you. So when you get the link, you can watch my screen while I do that, or you can go ahead or go through it. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so what I would do, since I think I have a lot of people joining from UK, I will show you how to make your payments in pounds. Though if you go on that particular website, this particular website is geotagged, meaning you have opportunity to pay in any currency or wherever you're joining from. If you are joining from Nigeria, you have ability to pay in Naira. If you are joining from if you are joining from anywhere in Europe, you also have the opportunity to pay in euros. If you're joining from Nigeria, you can pay in Naira. Wherever you're joining from, you have ability to pay directly in the currency of that country, right? So what you want to do is you want to scroll down and look for data science. So this is it over here, full stack data scientist. So you want to click on register, buy now. So once you click on buy now, it will load up. And as you can see, you click on enroll now. So once you click on this enroll now, once you click on that, in my own case, okay, in your own case, it will pop up for you to sign up. So you want to make sure you register with a valid email and a valid phone number because you will need to verify the account, right? So once you're done registering, verifying the account, you will see the exact page that you can see on my screen. Then all you have to do is just scroll down. We have a program starting by 8th of November. And we also have another one starting by 6th of December. So 100% you have an ability, you have the opportunity to key into the discount. And if you like, okay, if you're like, oh, 8th of November, I need to put some things in order. I'm not so certain if I'll be able to start. 100%, you still have ability to get this 25% discount and start by December. So all you have to do in that case is just come over here. It has taken me, okay, I think I pressed back. So all you have to do is just come over here and click on December. That is if you need to put some things in order before you start the program. If you're good to go, just click on November, just click on the November and you'll be able to make your payment. So, you know, the 750 US dollars that I talked about, that is equivalent to 615 pounds. Okay. But if you're looking to pay one time or you're looking to pay twice, instead of you paying 750 US dollars, you actually get to pay 712 US dollars. And that is equivalent to 585 pounds. That's if you're looking to pay either one time or two times. Or if that will not work for you, you want to spread your payment, you have ability to pay three times. Paying three times is going to have you pay 205 pounds every month for 3 months. You're looking to pay four times, that is going to be 153 pounds every month for 4 months. And if you're looking to pay in a much more relaxed terms, you have the five instrumental payments, which is 123 pounds every month for 5 months, right? So all you have to do is select the payment plan that works for you. Let's say the five instrumental, click on apply discount. Once you do that, you will get the discount applied and you'll be able to pay directly from the website. Okay. So you want to make sure that you register, select the payment plan that works for you. Then once you come down, you see this place that's asked you to confirm your information. Then also want to confirm the terms and conditions. Want to also read it. Make sure you go ahead, read it. Then once you're done reading, you want to click on pay now. So once you do that, you'll be directed to pay directly on the website and you'll be getting your program immediately, right? So this is how you go about to secure sports, make payments, and definitely be also part of the 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 people that will move the world into the direction where he's looking to get into. And definitely one thing I would definitely not miss out to talk about is by the time you're done with your training, you will also be getting your certificate. Okay, your certificate, you'll be getting a certificate from Analytics, and your certificate is accredited by the American Council of Training and Development, right? So you'll be getting the certificate once you're done with your training. And remember, the discount is only available to the first 20 people. So secure your spot as soon as possible so you don't miss out on it. And if you have any questions, definitely you can drop in the chat box. I'll be going through the chat now also. So if I have any questions, I'll be able to answer them before we call it a night. If you have any questions or if you would like to ask a question, just indicate. You can just indicate you want to speak, and I'll be able to call you to unmute your mic and speak. I believe the night has really been informative for us because I believe not all of us has knowledge about what Daniel just did tonight. So if there's any question, if there's anybody on the call that has any question, you might want to indicate or just ask in the chat box so I can get to answer you. Do we have any questions? Is there anything that we don't understand that might need some clarity or clarification? You can just indicate that you want to speak, or you can ask me to unmute you, and I'll be able to get you to speak. Make sure you click on the link that my colleague shared in the box. The program, remember, is starting by 8th of November. Okay, so you want to try as much as possible to secure a spot before the discount is over. If you click on that, we'll see that the discount is ending very soon. So you want to try as much as possible to get in on that before the discount is over. Right, I don't think, do we have any further questions before we end it for the night? It's been about 1 hour 47 minutes. Does anybody have any question before we end the night? Okay, so I believe you are all good to go. Thank you all for being here. It's actually been very, very informative. If you are yet to complete the form, remember this session is recorded, and it's once you complete the form, we'll be able to share the recording with you, and everything Daniel did, you will be able to do the same thing by going through everything they worked on. All right, so make sure you complete the form. The slide I'm using also for this particular session also be sharing that with you, but most importantly, make sure you secure your spots. The 25% discount is not going to be available forever. Secure your spots, transition into where the world is looking to get into, and definitely we're always available to help and guide you through all these processes. Okay, so at the absence of any further questions, thank you all for being here. It has really been a fun, fantastic night. Thank you all. Right at the end of the day, cheers everybody, and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.